Okay, we can continue now with verse 2. We're going to be here about 2 days. Verse 2. So, you need me to read the NIV again? Meanwhile, we groan, longing to be clothed instead with our heavenly dwelling. Because when we are clothed, we will not be found naked. So, verse 2. We have kai, gar. This forms an emphatic equation. Kai and gar. Literally be something like for and in this. But we're going to translate it indeed. Yeah. And then we have n plus the demonstrative pronoun of hutos. Here's tutoi. It literally is in this. In this. But it's idiomatic, meaning for this cause. Or hereby. Indeed, hereby we groan. But no, let's just say for this cause. For this cause, indeed. And what is it now? We have the main verb right here. Estenatsomen. Estenatso is a present and active indicative of estenatso. It means to sigh or to groan. This means to groan. We're going to translate it to groan. These are expressions of desire, expressions of longing for something, wanting something desirously. You know, when a woman really desires her man and she wants to get intimate with him, but she can't at that moment, and you know, there's all this sexual tension, and what does she do? She produces an expression of extreme desire, and what does she do? She sighs, or something like that. Or the man, when he really desires his right woman, he wants to get intimate with her at that moment, but he can't because they're in a public place or something. What does he do? He groans or something. He does an expression of longing, of desiring. And so this is one of those things, one of those expressions, the not so many. We groan. We groan desiring the resurrection body. Keep in mind that this does not apply to you unless you are past the point of having a personal sense of destiny. You cannot long for the resurrection body to the point of producing a groan unless you have made those things not seen as things seen. Talking about the super grace blessings. So what do we have? For this cause, we groan. This is a customary present for anyone who advances past the super grace blessings, the point of maturity. You already have your eyes on the things not seen of phase 3, that hope 3, confident expectation that at the moment of that if you execute the spiritual life, you're going to receive those wonderful phase 3 super grace blessings for eternity. And so this produces a groan for the resurrection body. You want to have that already. The active voice, Paul here and his team, who are super mature, they produce the action of the verb. This is not talking about the Corinthians. The Corinthians still have a long way to go. Maybe some people such as Stephanas, Fortunatus, and Achaicus, maybe someone like them, but not all the Corinthians. And so we groan. This is the same word that is used in Romans chapter 8, verse 23, going back to our passage that helps us form this little drawing, wonderful drawing. This has helped me out so much. I don't know if it has helped you. Verse 23 talks about the groaning of the creation. You see, after Adam sinned, he surrendered the rulership of the world to Satan. And part of that brought about the curse. Now we have the law of entropy, the law of decay, the second law of thermodynamics, first law of thermodynamics. And so the whole world is decaying. Now we have deserts, now we have violence. And so we know that the whole creation has been groaning, the same word, sustenatso, as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. And then it switches to us. We also groan. Verse 23, not only so, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit. What are the first fruits of the Spirit? This is hope too, fulfilled. The things not seen becoming seen. Which ones? This one. This is the first fruits of the Spirit. The Holy Spirit help you out, reach all the way to super grace, to the point that you can receive those super grace blessings, and thus they can become things seen. And this is the first fruits of the Spirit. And so, the translation should read something like, I wish I could go over this. since we have the first fruits of the pneumatos, the descriptive genitive of pneuma, of the Spirit, since we have the first fruits of the Spirit, we ourselves also, very emphatic, we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit, also stenatsumen, groan in within ourselves, inside of ourselves, we groan, desiring something. We groan, apektekomenoi, anticipating, desirously, huiotesian, the adoption. And then now we have a secondary, accusative secondary object, the redemption of our bodies. And so this adoption is the phase 3 adoption. You've already been adopted in phase 1 because you are in union with Christ. But this is talking about phase 3 at the rapture. Huiotesian, adoption, phase 3. And then the redemption of our bodies, huiotesian. Okay? So we groan when you have the first fruits of the Holy Spirit. First fruits are those super grace blessings. Now you're on your way to looking for those hope 3, a confident expectation, and this is where you produce that groaning. That's the natso. And then verse 24, as we saw, with reference to this hope, we were saved, but hope that is seen, it's not hope. For who hopes for what he sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, we anticipate desirously through patient endurance. And so what is he saying right here? The first fruits of the Spirit, you already received something, therefore it is no longer a hope because it is a hope seen. And so you have to move on to another type of hope, and that is hope 3. Okay, so, and hope 3, that's when you start stenatsome. That's when you start groaning. If you prefer a sigh, if you're one of those ladies that when you want something you sigh, then you can use that one. But just as long as you understand that this is an expression of longing, of desiring, of yearning. Let us go back to our passage. I promise you, we'll go back and exegete this a little bit more in detail. Now, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 2. What do we have thus far? For this cause indeed, we groan. We stenatsumen. We groan. And then we have a participle of epipoteo. What is this? Is a present active participle of epitontes. Epipoteo. Here is epipotontes. Now, this is a word for desire, for longing. We see another one here for desire. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where are you? Thelo. Thelo is somewhere around here. I could promise you that. But if I could just look at the screen instead of, well, you get it. Thelo. Oh, here it is. Thelo. Thelo means to desire something in terms of emotion. Your emotion is involved. This one, epipoteo, is also desiring something with emotion involved, but in terms of almost to the point of needing it. You need that thing that you desire. You need water. You need that food. Here it is desiring almost in terms of needing that resurrection body. You see, once you get to the point of having those super grace blessings, you long, you yearn, you desire to the point of almost needing that resurrection body. You want to be there already. You want to be at the judgment seat of Christ and have that resurrected body that's decorated with all the crowns and the decorations and all those wonderful blessings. So what do we have? Present active participle with epipoteo. This is the present tense. It is a progressive present. Once you reach the point of hope 3, you are constantly desiring, longing, yearning to the point of needing that resurrection body. It could also be a customary present for something that is expected to occur when someone reaches the point of having hope 3. This is an active voice. Paul and his team produced the action of the verb. Nope, not the Corinthians. Nope, not us. By way of application, unless you have those super grace blessings, then you'll start knowing what it is to yearn for that resurrection body. Unless you're already going through extreme suffering in the body, you're going through pains with the body, and you understand what it's like to live in a shit body. And so yes, absolutely, you can use this as a faith rest technique. You can already apply this to your personal sense of destiny for sure. Yes. So do not let me cancel you out, remove you, or exclude you. this can apply to you. You just have to know how to apply it correctly. So, desire. The participle is circumstantial. It goes along with the main verb of stenatsomen. This circumstantial participle is causal. It is causal. And we're going to translate it because. We can try since we yearn or because we yearn. So what do we have? For this cause indeed we groan because we yearn, and then we have this infinitive, a complementary infinitive that goes with we yearn. You yearn for what? Tell me, Paul. What are you longing for? What do you yearn for to the point of needing it almost? And this is the word ependuomai. This is the aorist middle infinitive of ependuomai. Ependusastai. And this means to clothe over. This is a compound word. Remove that epi in front of it, and you have enduo. Endusastai. Enduo means to clothe on, to put on. But epi enduo means to clothe over something that you already have put on. This is talking about the resurrection body in contrast to the interim body. The interim body is going to appear right here in verse 3. Forget about this ekdusamen. This word here, according to the reliable manuscripts, is enduo. Here you have it. P46, Sinaiticus, Vaticanus also has it. All these reliable manuscripts have enduo, endusamenoi. This means to put on, to clothe on. But here, epi enduo means to put over something that you already have on. Because we yearn to, how did I put it? How did I translate it? To put on, over. I'm going to be very literal. To put on over ourselves. So the aorist tense, this is a constitutive aorist of desiring for the rapture to happen. Desiring for the resurrection body to be clothed upon us. That moment of the rapture, the exit resurrection. And so it gets that punctiliar action. The active, this is not the active voice, this is the middle voice. This is a indirect middle voice where the subject partakes in the results of the action of clothing himself. And the infinitive is a complementary infinitive that goes with yearning, the desire. We yearn to clothe, to put on over ourselves. Yes, put on over ourselves. And now we have a direct object, accusative direct object of oketeirion. Oketeirion. This means dwelling. We have the article, ton, oketeirion. This is dwelling. This is the resurrection body. And then we have another, to. So the same accusative neuter. We have another accusative neuter of to, but here with the prepositional phrase. This article, same as the article over here, to, oketeirion. This article goes with this prepositional phrase, and therefore this prepositional phrase is used as an adjective. The dwelling, the out from heaven one. And now we have a possessive genitive of ego, hemon, our dwelling, the out from heaven. And so how are we going to translate it? Our dwelling from heaven. What is the dwelling from heaven? This is the resurrection body that Paul anticipates so much to just put over on right now. He wants to put it over his physical body. He doesn't even want to go through the interim body. He just wants to have the resurrection body right there at the judgment seat of Christ and get things over with and have his wonderful blessings. He already has them. He already has those super grace blessings, and he can't wait to have the resurrection body. He yearns for it to the point of almost needing it. What do we have as a translation here? This is the apodosis of the sentence. So, for this cause, indeed, we groan because we yearn to put on over ourselves our dwelling from heaven.